Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's doing fine, mighty fine this Tuesday evening. Let's see. I see a Dr. Killswitch, a Sheikah RX003, and a Kawaii Voldemort. Thanks, guys, for joining in. And as you guys know, every Tuesday night, well, most Tuesday nights are programming nights. Occasionally, I have unboxing to do, but tonight is just programming. And to help ease me into that, of course, I'm still drinking my favorite port. Right, well, actually, it's not my favorite port, but I like drinking port, and this is probably the cheapest port I've ever bought. As you can see, I've done away with most of the bottle so far, so hopefully tonight will be the last time I drink this. So yeah, thanks guys for joining in. Let's see, let's turn on some tunes. Here we go. Let's go with the jazzy playlist. Let's do this one. RX003 says, "You look good today. Thank you. Thank you very much." Here we go. Let's see. I think this can give me at least one glass, right? At least one glass. We'll see. KBD Fans has a series of products called KBD67. Its latest incarnation is the KBD67 Lite, which you guys can see in stock at Divinikey or join the round 2 group buy at KBD Fans. Of course, the PCB that goes in this has certain flavors as well, so that PCB is the Mark II. However, there were other KBD67 boards such as the Rev 1, Rev 2, and Hotswap. This one was specifically in their tray-mounted board. It was replacements for the Tada68 PCB, and right now this is the PCB that can fit in Tofu 65. As I was going through all of this, I realized that one board here was not in VIA yet, and that was the Hotswap board. See? You go in here, there is no key map for VIA, and in fact a user on YouTube messaged me and was like, "Merlin, can you add this in? Because I've got this board." And I'm like, "Sure." And I told him I would do that like 4 months ago, so I figured now is the time. Now is the time before I forget any further, right? So that's what we'll be doing tonight. I unfortunately do not have a KBD67 or a Tofu 65 to show you guys. All I have are the latest incarnations. Here we go. Latest incarnations, round 1 and round 2, right? But none of the original tray-mounted variants. But still, people will still have those boards, so we should make sure that they are supported in VIA. Rizzy, thanks for joining in. Yeah, check it out. This is the latest KBD67 Lite. This is what you can get if you join their round 2 group buy. Alright, let's get started. If you don't know what VIA or QMK is an open sourced firmware for mechanical keyboards in our hobby, and VIA is the GUI for it. So today I'm just going to show people how to add VIA support into an existing QMK firmware. As you guys can see from here, it already exists. So give me a moment while I set up my dev environment. Right here, I think I'm good. I should be able to show my screen as soon as this program loads up. And come on, load up for me, please. There we go. There we go. So what I have opened up here is actually the repository for QMK. Specifically, I'm in the directory of the KBD Fans KBD67. And like what I was showing earlier on the website, there are several keyboards here. Tonight, we just want to focus on the Hotswap right over here. So yeah, putting VIA support into a QMK supported board is relatively simple, but it does come in 2 parts. The first part is you need to edit the QMK firmware, and the second part is you need to make a VIA JSON file. We'll start by editing the QMK firmware. So putting in VIA support is as easy as creating a key map named VIA. So what I like to do here is I go over here to the key maps directory, and I like to copy and paste the default key map. So copy and paste. There we go. And we are almost done actually. What you want to do next is to rename it VIA. Boom. There we go. And for the most part, you've got most of everything that's needed. So here, let me just clean out the craft here. Make sure your copyright is set to present day or to the present year. You can actually take out all of this. Make sure it's as sparse as possible. Take out all this extra stuff. All you really need is the key map here. See, this key map has two layers. Layer 0, the base key map, and layer 1, which from this case looks to be some type of function row. However, by default, VIA uses four layers. Here, just to give you guys an illustration of that, let me show it off. Here, so what you're seeing right now is VIA for my Gray Studio Think 6.5. Over here in the top left, you'll see layer 0, 1, 2, 3. So 4 layers. You can, of course, define this to be either larger or smaller. Unfortunately, this is dictated by how much room, how much memory your microcontroller has on your board. So not every board can have 4. Some boards have 2, and some boards can even have 10. But yeah, for the most part, 4 seems to be enough for most people. So we'll stick with that. So the thing is, in VIA, you can't just leave all of those empty. You actually need to define them. Like right here, just want to copy a somewhat empty layer, like so. And just copy and paste it, like that. And by defining, I mean, it just needs to be defined, like the actual contents of the layer can be completely transparent, like what I'm doing here. AC trans, all that good stuff. See that? And then we want a 4th one. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Like so. Or 0, 1, 2, 3, I mean. And yeah, you're pretty much done with the VIA key map now. I am noticing that layer 1, this guy right here, is fairly sparse, kind of unuseful, so we will at least populate it with a function row. So whoever gets the VIA firmware for this will have more, will have a better starting point than having everything blank. So we will just give them that. F7, F8, F9. Because he says second bottle is better. Yeah, because you're too drunk to notice any difference. F12, just like that. And we'll change this very last key on the right to be a KC del. Or delete. Let's see. That should be fine, right? I think this PCB has underglow RGB, so I guess we could... Here, let's just do RGB tog right there. Like so. Okay. Seems to be good. Seems to be good. Now, just to make sure everything compiles, let's just compile it. We're not done here. I'm just testing my compile function just to make sure I've got all the commas and semicolons all in the correct places, and looks like we're good. Perfect. Okay. Next thing we want to do is remove additional craft You don't need your config.h file. You can delete that. You don't need the readme. You can also delete that. No problem there at all. There we go. Good stuff. Actually, you do need a rules.mk. There. Add a new file. Call it rules.mk. Right, and in here, this is the meat. This is how you turn on VIA. So here you go. It's this VIA underscore enable equals yes. Just that. That's how you enable VIA on any keymat. So you could go through any of these. You can go to Brandon, so you can go to the default or the Mad Hatter or for the Steven one, and just add in VIA enable equals yes, and then associated rules.mk, and you will enable VIA for that keymat. Yeah, you're pretty much done at this point. But then you also want to do this. LTO underscore enable. This stands for link time optimization. It makes your firmware file as small as possible. For most boards in QMK, it uses an Atmega32U4 microcontroller, which has very little memory. So you want to make sure you take up as least space as possible. So it's kind of the same syntax. Set it to yes. It can cause some weird issues sometimes. I've only ever seen that on like ARM MCUs, to be honest. ARM MCUs or on keyboards that have like a custom matrix. But here we go. For the most part, this should work. Let's run the make command again and just make sure things are working as expected. And looks like it's good. Boom. Okay, good. All right, the last piece of the puzzle is, let's go back to VIA really quick so I can talk about this example. Here you go. So what you just saw, right, of it loading, see, I'm gonna unplug my board right now, and then I'm gonna plug it back in, and you guys will see VIA detect it. Oh, of course VIA doesn't detect it all the time. Sometimes you need to unplug and replug. There we go. See? So the way that VIA detects what board you've got. So for example, if I plugged in a different board, it's not going to say it's a Gray Studio Think 6.5. It's going to say it's whatever that board is. The way that VIA detects all that, right? The way that VIA detects all that is accomplished through the config.h file here. It is accomplished by reading the vendor ID and the product ID of a keyboard. So what we want to do here is we need to make sure that the vendor ID matches up with what KBD Fans has, which is why I have these other guys opened up. So let's see. This guy has 4B42. So let's replace that with 4B42. Right? So it detects it via vendor ID and product ID. Now we need to come up with a sensible product ID. Let's go back to that file I was looking at earlier. Like, these have to be unique. You can't have two boards with the exact same vendor and product ID, right? That would give you quite a few issues down the road. See, this one is 6066. And this one is 6067. I'm gonna call this 6068. And just to make sure no other board has that, I'm just going to do a quick silver searcher right here. The module is 6068. Okay, never mind. I can't do 6068. Maybe 6065. The Plonk Lite has it. Okay, so the Plonk Lite has it as a product ID. But remember, this comes as a pair. So as long as the vendor ID is different, this should be fine. So we are going to give this guy this Hotswap guy a product ID of 66065. And that should be good. That should be good. Let's recompile that once more. Let's see, Darashna says, that's why I2C serial and now transport.c are added to lib src stuff that disables the LTO. Ah, okay. Makes sense. There we go. Excuse me. So at this point, we should have a firmware file that is VIA enabled. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have that board. That is not a board in my possession, so I just have to assume that it works out well, right? Just have to assume that it is good. Anyway, go back to the code really quick. Since this is a Hotswap board, there's really only one layout. So what that one layout is this. What I'm not sure about is what it looks like. Moon says, hey Merlin, what do you think about the Salvation or Fiel R6? Honestly, I haven't looked too much into them. All I've seen are pictures and they look good. But other than visual observations, I don't think I can really say too much else. If you guys take a look at this, right, it's Hotswap. But it's not just like your typical ANSI blocker. It also has split backspace, so this is completely different than other 65% Hotswaps. So if that's the case, I will need to remake this really quick. Let's do this. Keyboard layout editor. And I am going to remake it. Let's see, we're just going to borrow from QMK really quick so I don't need to do this by hand. Let's go to layouts, default. And boom, there we go. That is what I want right there. That is what I want. Okay. Alright, okay. We should be able to do this now. Let me just move my tabs around. So here we go. Okay, this is how you do the VIA JSON. First, you want to go to caniusevia.com. Click on the docs over here. So what the docs explain is all the properties required in this VIA JSON file. See, so this VIA JSON file requires a name property, a vendor and product ID. It needs a lighting property, the matrix, the layouts, all that good stuff. So we will be crafting a JSON file with all of this. I like to start off by doing the layouts, which is why I am on Keyboard Layout Editor. So I'm just gonna pre-populate this, and then I'll talk about what I'm doing after. Yeah, I'm pretty much already almost done. I think the rest of the stream will probably just be me drinking or talking about some other upcoming products that I've got. Here we go. 30 and 40 right there. Okay, so all of these numbers here, like Merlin, what's this pair of numbers on the top left? So this pair of numbers represents the row and column of a switch, right? So 00 means row 0, column 0. 30 means row 3, column 0. 40 means row 4, column 0. So what does this all mean? If you go all the way back to your code right here, let's talk about here. Let's go to config.h. In your config.h, there is a collection of pins labeled row and a collection of pins labeled column. the very first row mentioned is row 0, and so forth, so on. So this is row 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The same goes for column. So C7 is column 0, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so forth and so on. So when I say row 4, column 0, it means row 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, D4, so that's row 4, column 0 is C7. So that means this is the pin connected to D4 in C7. So you're like, Merlin, am I supposed to take my multimeter and poke away at my PCB and figure this all out? Sure. You could do that to like learn how this whole process works, but most of this should already be done for you. If you look over to your keyboards.h file, for example, in this case, it is known as hotswap.h, you already have it all mapped out. See? So you've got this giant thing here. This giant thing here from lines 29 to 42 is known as the layout macro. Layout macro comes in 2 parts. The bottom part is called the electrical matrix, and the top part is the physical matrix. The physical matrix basically represents what your board is supposed to look like. The bottom half represents what your board looks like electrically. For the purposes of this review of filling this out, you only need to pay attention to the physical matrix. Oh yeah, this is where you can just copy and paste, or maybe not copy and paste, but copy along. See, so you go 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, all the way till 10, 11, 12, 13, then 2C, and then 0E. You want to copy all of this over. So let's go do it. So it goes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's do it, one by one. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13. Real Rook redeemed Hydrate, thank you very much. Alright, so that's 13, right? So after 13, so 13 is K0D, K2C. K2C is... Let's see, what's this? K2C is 212. Ooh, what did Zark send me? Add helper macro for generating a transparent VIA layout. There we go. Got bored of watching replicate layout macros. Automatically inserts all positions into electrical matrix with KC trans. Why? Thank you so much. Add your review. What's this? Let's go look. Files changed. Oh, I see what you're doing here. Okay. Okay. So it generates it based on the matrix rows and matrix columns. Okay. Pretty useful. Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying, 2C is what? That's A, B, C, that's 212. 2C is 212, like so. And then what's next is K0E. So that's 14, right? That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 0, 14. K0, 14. Boom. There we go. And now we just have to do the same thing for each row. Row 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah. I'll just do that off screen right here. Just have it over to the side. Make it easy. Yeah, I think this might be the last KBD fans board that is not in VIA. goes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No way. 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Perfect. Next row goes 2, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. Okay. Ten, 11, 13, 14. Hotswap boards are the easiest to port to VIA. You don't have to do any of those groups and options. Then 12, 13, 14. Okay. 12, 13, 14. And let's see. Last row. 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 5, 4, 9. Oops. 4, 9. 4, 10. 11, 12, 13. Or it's 11, 13, 14. There we go. Alright, so one thing about VIA is you want to make sure that the mods and alphas and the accents are all colored differently so it shows up nice in VIA. So let's go take care of that. Espresso says, hello, I just want to say thank you for all the work you put into the community. Discovered your weekly group buy updates a little while ago on YouTube, and I've been really enjoying your commentary over the last few weeks. Keep up the great works. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right. Let's do... There we go. That should be all that we need. Okay. So now we need to craft this file. So now we need to work in a different repository. Different one than I've been working in. Let's move over there. Here, you guys can stare at my wonderful keyboard. My Think 6.5. I also think V2 is a good gasket mounted board. I quite enjoy it actually. This is my first gasket mounted board that has an FR4 plate. So far so good. I like it. I bought it primarily for its aesthetics though, because look at that. That's so pretty. Though I wish that I would have gone for the 2U layout instead of the 1U. Like, going for the 1U makes it look like a lot of other 65%, but the 2U would have a blocker down here, which I find much more useful, to be honest. Your Shiny Road says, do you think the 65% form factor is fad or here to stay? I'd say preference. Like some people like 65, some people like 60, some people like 75s. Yeah, I guess it just depends on who likes what. Yoshimori says, I have about 200. What keyboard kit should I buy? I'd say to take a gander over at KBD Fans. They have quite a few units. Right now, the boards that I am quite excited about are the KBD67 Lite Round 2, but you would have to join a group buy for it. Delivery time expected to be sometime in May. But here we go. If you want to do for the Round 1 units instead, you can visit Divinikey. Divinikey should actually still have a few units in stock, but if you go to Divinikey, you can use discount code WIZARD and get an additional 5% off. Honestly, the difference between the two is how thockier it sounds. R2 sounds a little bit deeper than R1. So it's up to you if you want to wait an extra few months for that. R2 also gives you an option to do a Bluetooth PCB for an additional 50 bucks, I believe. So yeah, if that is something that interests you, go for the R2. If you don't care about Bluetooth, go for the R1. Alright, here we go. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was in the middle of changing repositories. So here we go. Alright, this is the VIA repository. This is completely different from QMK. You will not find this in QMK. Let's see, where is the KBD Fans directory? KBD Fans, there we go. So, cause I'm lazy, I'm just gonna copy over what I have here. There's a KD67 Rev 1, Rev 2. Let's just do that. Rename KBD67 Hotswap. There. That's good. Then we're gonna rename this as KBD67 Hotswap .json. Oh wait, what did I just do? Never mind. I renamed the directory instead. Let's fix that up. There we go. KBD67 Hotswap 4B426065. Let's see. Yep, it supports backlight and RGB. Now I just have to look at the rows right here. Which plate should I get with the KBD67 DIY? As far as I know, it only comes with one plate, right? Are you talking about the light or just the KBD67 in general? Chivo says, I got the Icky68. How does that compare to the KBD67 Lite? They look pretty similar. I don't know yet, but I should be getting an Icky68 for review in the near future. IEARC says, I probably missed it, but did you talk about GMMK Pro yet? No, I have not. Today's topic is porting the KBD67 Hotswap into VIA. Squeeze Squaw says polycarb, alu, or brass. You've pretty much listed it in the order of like stiffness, so polycarb would be the most flexible, followed by alu, followed by brass. So yeah, I guess it depends on how you like your typing. You know, in terms of like sounds, I would say polycarb has the deepest sound. So I guess you kind of have it in that correct order as well. So I guess it just falls. It just comes to which part of the spectrum that you fall in. It's the boy Fresh. He says, "Hi, I'm new here. What does porting mean?" Porting in this context, well, if you look at the stream tiles, porting via ports, it's called that because number one, I am drinking a wine called a port, and number two, porting means to take, well, in our context, we are taking a keyboard that, let's say, uses a different kind of firmware. Let's call it Ggon or something, and we are converting it to use QMK. So that specific act is called porting. See, Shiny Robot says, KBD fans PC Plate is really poppy. Yes, it is. Which would produce the most stockiness? You have it in that correct order. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's transition back to the code right here. We want to look at the rows and columns. Rows and columns is actually 5 by 15. Perfect. We don't need any of these labels, so I can delete that. Okay, perfect. And for the time being, we can remove this entire key map right there. And then go back here. We want to go back to keyboard layout editor. Go to raw data, click download JSON, open it up. Open it up, copy it, and throw it in here. There we go. Okay, so we should be done with the VIA JSON file. So as I said earlier, unfortunately I do not have a KBD67 Hotswap to test on because it's such an old board. I don't actually know how many people still have one, but we can still test it in VIA. So let's show you guys how to do that. Here we go. I have VIA opened up right now. On the very top here, you should see 4 tabs. If you don't, go to the settings tab and click on show design tab. That's what we want right there. So once you've done that, go to the design tab, click on the load button, and open up that file. Open up that file that we just created. In our case, it is the KBD67 Hotswap.json. And once you've opened it up, it should look exactly like your keyboard layout editor. If it doesn't, then you messed up. There we go. Boom. There we go. That's it. Looks like I did it correctly. And unfortunately, this is as far as I can go. Without an actual board, you can't really test this. So here. Most I can do is show you the matrix, but that doesn't really help you guys out. There we go. But for all intents and purposes, I'm done. BC says, good stuff so far, Merlin. I'm getting my 67 lights tomorrow, so I'll have to rewatch. Awesome. The Squeeze Salsa, what case you have for that personal keyboard of yours? This keyboard of mine is the Think 6.5 V2. It's a gasket mounted 65%. Probably one of the more beautiful 65% that I've seen. That. Center mounted USB, all that good stuff. Yeah, so far it's, it's been on my desk for a while. Quite like it. I built it with the Palm Glacier Pandas, so it's a fully Palm switch and an FR4 plate. Gives it a really poppy sound. It's supposed to be 67G, but it almost feels like it's like 65, so maybe I've just gotten more used to like heavier switches, or who knows. Have I received my IFK port yet? No, I have not. I'm still waiting for that. But once I do, I should probably put it on a keyboard that I use for every porting stream. So port on port on port. The Listen Up phone says, true story, I found my movie ticket stub from The Matrix earlier today. Wow, Like, how long has it been? I think it's been 15 years since The Matrix came out. I've been looking for a 65 case and have the tofu as my last resort. Well, as I said earlier, the KBD67 lights are probably the best 65% that KBD fans has to offer right now. Portception. 1999 release. Oh my gosh, that is such a long time ago. Okay, so quick story. So in the middle of the SARS outbreak, so SARS was another pandemic way back in the day, and it coincided with the release of Matrix Reloaded. And me being a big Matrix fan, I was like, I need to watch this movie. And my parents were like, no, don't go out. It's dangerous. You can't go out and hang out with people. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So I snuck out that night to watch it with my friends. But of course, I was being very careful and stuff. I wore like a mask, and I had like hand sanitizer and everything. But yeah, just kind of like a mirror on our times these days. But me being a high school kid, I was like, yeah, gotta watch Matrix Reloaded. It's old enough to drink. Speaking of drinking, I'm already out of this glass. Let me refill. You did the O-ring mod on your Tofu 65 and it's pretty great, to be honest. Okay, yeah, that's been a popular mod lately. There you go, I am done with the cheapest port ever for $3.99. All done. I think I'll have to buy a new port soon, or drink one of the ones that I have in the back here. The ones that I have in the back are kind of expensive, so I'd rather save it for like a special occasion or something. Okay, let's see. I might actually be done with the coding for tonight. That was a lot faster than I thought it would be. Here, let me just file my PRs. You can watch as I type on this beautiful keyboard. Did you drink that whole bottle? Yeah, I did. All by myself. Took about 3 streams though. Let's see. No, I think 4 streams. 4 streams. Probably 1 or 2 glasses a stream. Eventually finished it all. But yeah, I have drank many bottles of port on this show. Is the KBD67 light made out of plastic? Yes, it is. It is made out of ABS plastic. Alright, let me just file PRs for all of this good stuff. Oh yeah, definitely not. If I were to drink 1 whole bottle for a stream, I probably would not be able to code at all. Alright, we got the VIA stuff in. Let's see. Any recommendations for an Alu case 65%? In your budget, I would say no. I would say literally a board like this, or maybe any of its counterparts, such as the Icky68, you know, Icky68, or the Portico would probably exceed any other metal case that you buy in that same price range. So I would actually recommend the plastic. Espresso Plays Game says, avoid headaches by drinking a buttload of water before going to bed. That is very good advice. Typically, you want to drink 1 glass of water per glass of wine. I usually do more than that. I try to do like two extra glasses of water just to make sure. Your PRs will look really funny drunk. Yeah, I know, right? Alright, looks like I have it all pushed to my branch. Let me just file the appropriate PRs. You guys can actually watch along while I do that. Here we go, pull request. KBD67 VIA or Hotswap VIA support. Labels VIA. There we go. Add a VIA key map to the KBD67 Hotswap. Good stuff. No, that's not a keyboard. I want a key map right there. All right, there we go. Anyway, it is 9 o'clock. I've done what I wanted to do. I've gotten VIA support for the KBD67 Hotswap, a board that was run back in 2018 by KBD fans. So hopefully everyone who has that board, who is still using that board, will now get to experience VIA. Of course, since I don't have the board in front of me, I'll probably be reaching out to the person who first pinged me about it to have them test my VIA JSON file before I submit it into VIA. But until then, I'll probably make a few more slight tweaks just to make it cleaner. But yeah, thanks guys for joining in. I know we've talked more about other keyboards other than the KBD67, but no, like I said, once I get my GMMK Pro, I'll have a more conducive, I'll have a more elaborate write-up and talk about it. But yeah, if you guys want to learn more about this process, I will be shortening it over on YouTube in about 30 hours, so stay tuned to that. My next stream will be this Thursday. I have a board to build. I have a bunch of keyboards here that I have been saving for myself. Not really full builds, but more like modifications. So this Thursday, I'll be doing another episode of Keyboard Chores. I'll probably go through, from the looks of it, I'll probably go through 3 keyboards on Thursday. So if you're interested in that content, make sure you tune in Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. PST. Alright guys, thanks for joining in, and I will see you when I see you. Goodbye everyone.